Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words, become much more articulate. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing a dark truth in regards to hard work. There was this one day when I get a call that I need to get my door replaced. And my door was going to be replaced on Thursday. I should block out 4 hours for this thing to be done. And since I was working from home on this particular day, I said, no problem. Thursday rolls on by, and there's this old man that is knocking on my door. And he said, I'm the guy who's going to be replacing your door. I said, fine. If you need anything, let me know. I thought that was it. But it wasn't. This was a chatty old man. He began to talk about how he got into general construction. He talked about his fishing interests. Every weekend, he ran a fishing business where he would take tourists throughout the lakes and get them to catch their first ever fish. And he gave me his business card. So we're making small talk for some time, and eventually it's that part in the conversation where we're separating. He begins working, and I began getting my work done. And as I'm getting my work done, I hear a lot of sound from the general vicinity that this gentleman is working on. And he's doing a lot of work. He's sawing a bunch of stuff. He's using the hammer. He's doing some painting. I'm thinking, dang, to replace a door, it requires a lot of work. Why doesn't he have an assistant or something? He is doing everything by himself, going from his car back, picking up these heavy tools, working so hard. I'm like, old man, do you need some water? And he said, no, I'm good for right now. Hour after hour is passing on by. And eventually, around the end of 4.5 hours, I look at the door and it's looking good. It's looking done. The old man comes to me and says, mission complete, young man. And I said, cool. So I go up to the door just to make sure everything's working fine. And I noticed something. Whenever you try to pull the door open, you have to do this jerking motion. And whenever you're trying to close the door, you have to exert a lot of force. And I tell the old man, I said, hey, what's up with this jerking and force motion? It wasn't here before. And that's when this old man starts to ramble. He starts to use all these different phrases that I've never heard before. He starts to go on these diatribes about how the previous guy that worked on my door was from Home Depot, and how Home Depot has lost its ways. How Home Depot nowadays hires teens with zero craftsmanship experience like the old man. And he's just over here rambling for a long time. And he looks at me as if he's answered my question. And then I ask again, what's up with this jerking motion? How are we going to fix it? And he gives me this very disappointed look. It's as though I'm not empathizing with the last 4.5 hours of work that he has put in. And he's looking at me like, aren't you at least going to acknowledge the hard work that I put in? So I acknowledged it. I said, look, I could tell that you've been working very hard for a long time. I give you props for that. But this is not something that I could deal with long term. Because in my mind, I'm picturing this. I'm picturing one day I'm taking out my trash, and let's say on this particular week, it's heavy trash. So I'm holding heavy trash in one hand, and with the other hand, I'm trying to close my door. I know some savages that leave their door open when they go throw out the trash. That's not me. I close my door and I lock it too. And imagine if I'm trying to pull on the door as I'm holding this heavy bag of trash. One time is fine, but if this happens 4 times in the month, I'm going to notice it. So I let this guy know. I said, look, this is going to be an issue. We need to fix this before you can leave. And understanding that I wasn't going to let this drop, he starts to think, he starts to say, okay, give me a couple of minutes. He goes to his truck, pulls out his phone, does some research, and he comes back and he says, I discovered how I could fix this issue, young man. Give me 2 days. 2 days is all I need in order to fix it. And 2 days later, he came back and he fixed the issue. What I learned from that moment was It doesn't matter how hard you work. Ultimately, your hard work is sometimes being done for you. Let's say you're going to the gym and you're just working out for yourself. That's one scenario. Other times, your hard work is being mapped onto someone else. And when it's being mapped onto someone else, they don't care how hard you worked. This is a dark truth. You may think, I work for 5 hours and you're telling me they don't care? Not at all. They only care if it works. That is all. And that's the biggest difference between a professional and a wimp. A wimp is going to say, well, they should care. I'm going to make them aware of how hard I worked. Even if the final product doesn't work, at least they know how much effort I put in. That's the mindset of a wimp. While the professional is like, that's not their job to know how hard I work. I work hard because I understand that becoming great at anything, any craft out there, whether it's putting up doors, whether it's making a YouTube video, requires work, and the other person, they don't need to know. And let's be real, how often do we look at something that's great and we think, well, how much hard work did they put in? We don't think that much. I heard that it could take up to 2 to 4 years to make one of those animated films like Finding Nemo, Incredibles. I never think of it like that. When I'm going to the theater, I just expect to watch the movie and then I go about my own life. So whenever you feel upset that other people are not empathizing with your hard work, you should actually bring the spotlight back on you and think about how much do you empathize with other people's hard work, whether it's the small things or whether it's the big things. This is the dark truth about hard work. The only person that should care is you, because others really do not give a damn. Thank you very much for joining the Armani Talks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you next time.